I have bad news, gamers. It seems that the automatons have won the day. Super Earth is falling to the robotic greed of our synthetic enemy. And by that, I mean Helldivers 2 has completely lost all of its community goodwill and massively upset its player base. With one quick, extremely greedy mistake, they're requiring everyone who plays Helldivers to log in using a PlayStation Network account, starting soon. Whereas since shortly after launch, that hasn't been required. But why are gamers so upset by having to sign in with PlayStation Network? Well, today, I'll tell you. So let's start at the beginning. When Helldivers 2 first launched, you were required to link a PSN account to your Steam account to play the game. But if you recall, the Helldivers 2 launch was an abject disaster. Not because the game was bad, but because it was so good. Too many people wanted to play, and since Helldivers 2 is an always online game, the servers couldn't handle the number of people who wanted to play, and the players sat in queues for hours. The dev team over at Arrowhead had to take a few measures to help fix the issues causing the long wait times. One of the things they did at that point was to make it so that playing Helldivers 2 no longer required you to have a PSN account linked if you're playing on PC through Steam. Importantly though, since the game launched with the requirement, it was technically noted in the game's details on the Steam store that the requirement existed, though no one actually reads that. Fast forward a few months, full of great reviews, massive player numbers, and a huge community, to now, where it seems like they're going to lose it all. What did they do? Well, on May 3rd, they added a news post to Steam called the Helldivers 2 Account Linking Update. It read, "Attention Helldivers. Due to technical issues at the launch of Helldivers 2, we allowed the linking requirements for Steam accounts to a PlayStation Network account to be temporarily optional. That grace period will now expire. See details below in this post. Account linking plays a critical role in protecting our players and upholding the values of safety and security provided on PlayStation and PlayStation Studios games. This is our main way to protect players from griefing and abuse by enabling the banning of players that engage in that type of behavior. It also allows those players that have been banned the right to appeal. As such, as of May 6th, all new Helldivers 2 players on Steam will be required to connect their Steam account to a PlayStation Network account. Current players on Steam will start to see the mandatory login from May 30th and will be required to have linked to Steam and PlayStation Network account by June 4th. PlayStation Network accounts are free and easy to set up using this link. We understand that while this may be an inconvenience to some of you, this step will help us to continue to build a community that you are all proud to be a part of. Many thanks for your continued support of Helldivers 2, Sony Interactive Entertainment." I think that the community manager for Palworld, Bucky, summed it up quite nicely in his response. "I'm sure this will be very well received by PC players and everything will be smiles and rainbows." Because man, the community did not receive this news well. I can understand why the suits over at Sony and Arrowhead might not have expected major backlash, but man, were they wrong. You see, gamers can be a bit difficult. I say this as a gamer myself. We don't like having to jump through hoops to play games, and though the time it will actually take to sign up for a PSN account and link it to our Steam will be minimal, doing so means we'd now have to accept and abide by the PlayStation Network terms of service. Who knows what rights we're signing away in that? And all for what reason? What's the purpose of having a second login when we already know that the game works fine using just our Steam login? It just doesn't make sense and adds another annoying login to remember. For any companies listening, if something adds nothing for your players but makes them do something annoying, it'll make your players mad. Who would have thought? But the even worse part of this change is that PSN isn't available in every country. But since the PSN requirement wasn't enforced for months, people all across the globe have been buying and playing the game fine, but now will be unable to, since they can't make a PSN account that's now required to play the game, which is insane, taking away a game that's worked perfectly fine for no reason other than PlayStation doesn't allow PSN accounts in their country. On top of that, since the game's been out for so long, most people with it in their libraries will have already played more than 2 hours of the game, which is the cutoff to get a game refunded through Steam. Granted, given the circumstances here, I think it's likely that Steam may make an exception, especially for people in countries who won't be able to play anymore. We're already seeing signs of that, with some people reporting that they were able to get refunds, and the apparent removal of Helldivers 2 from the Steam store in countries where players will be unable to get a PSN account. Good guy Valve coming to the rescue once again. But what did the Helldivers team do when they realized everything was going up in smoke? I mean, the game's Steam reviews are completely destroyed right now, with recent reviews sitting at mostly negative, and the all-time reviews sitting at mixed. Surely the Helldivers team is professional and didn't make any rash announcements or antagonize the player base anymore, right? Nope. As it turns out, Helldivers has perhaps the most incompetent community management team I've ever seen. Some members of the team were so unable to deal with the player feedback, which is their job, job, by the way, that they privated their Twitter accounts, with one of them even seeming to change their Twitter handle. There's only one Chad community manager who didn't bother to private his Twitter that I've found, and that was Twinbeard, so shout out to him. He's also the only community manager for Helldivers 2 that I've seen without an outwardly political and unprofessional Twitter bio. But I digress. My point is that their team had handled it in the worst ways possible. One member of the CM team decided to taunt players on Discord, making fun of them for not wanting to take 120 seconds out of their day to make a PSN account, and telling people to leave negative reviews if they feel so strongly. Then also responding to one community member mockingly, saying, "I thought you were refunding and leaving." Yeah, absolutely baffling response right there. Not sure how these people can expect to keep their jobs. On the plus side, there has been a bit of a narrative shift from Arrowhead and the Helldivers team. You see, originally they had said in the news post, this was something they were excited about because it will help them ban more players. A sentiment that was echoed in the community manager's early tweets, with Misty, who's now privated her Twitter but is a CM for Helldivers 2, saying, "No, it's to allow us to ban people. That is the sole reason," in response to an upset community member who was trying to blame Sony for shoehorning in the PSN requirement. That's right, initially, everything said that this was Arrowhead's decision, and a CM confirmed that it was their choice because it increases the effectiveness of bans. However, Arrowhead has now changed their tune completely into the other direction, with the CM Twinbeard saying on Discord that, first of all, it's Sony's decision, not ours, which is a complete turnaround from their position just a day or so beforehand. It seems like Arrowhead has decided to just throw Sony under the bus for this, whether or not it was actually something Sony forced on them. Who knows? I think it's fairly likely that Sony wanted to use the massive Helldivers 2 player base to boost their PSN monthly active users number, but at the same time, I think it's entirely possible that it was left as an option that the Arrowhead team thought they might as well go through with because it might help them with moderation, and they made the decisions themselves to re-add it. We can't really know because they've already proven that they're willing to lie about it. Either they lied at the beginning when a CM said that it was so they could ban people more effectively, or they're lying now when they say it's all on Sony. This is, by far, the worst crisis management I've seen from a game as big as this. They really need to get all their CMs on the same page. There is hope that they'll decide that this isn't worth going forward with, and that they'll completely backpedal and remove the PSN requirement entirely, because one of the CMs, Spitz, who you might recognize as the CM who was taunting players earlier, has made a few announcements regarding where Arrowhead stands. He says that there's internal discussions going on about the change, almost certainly with panicked devs trying to convince upper management to let them remove it before it kills the game entirely. Then going on to announce that they're not going to make the PSN account required in countries where PSN isn't allowed, which is huge, eliminating the worry that a lot of players had that they'd lose access. Spitz goes on to play dumb and say that he wasn't aware of how many countries couldn't sign up for PSN before the announcement went out, but as part of the CM team that's making the announcement, you'd think maybe they'd have checked that out first, right? But whatever. He went on to push the line that all of this was Sony's fault, which again, I must point out directly contradicts what his colleague Misty had said to the community just days ago. So again, who knows? I think that the change will get reverted if I'm honest. I'm certain they didn't expect anywhere near the amount of pushback that they got, and that there's no way that they'll end up moving forward with it and risk their cash cow. Helldivers 2 was immensely popular, and if you think that Sony or Arrowhead want to mess that up, you're wrong. Now, whether they roll it back fully or just in countries where the game wouldn't be playable, I can't say. The only thing I can say about this entire situation is that the Helldivers community managers were completely unprepared for a backlash like this. They acted unprofessionally, that their actions have cost them all of their players' goodwill and trust, something that's going to be hard to earn back. Alright gamers, this is Editing MattyO coming in with a major update to the story here. As it turns out, Super Earth prevails again. Sony has backed down on the requirement to force people to link PSN accounts to their Steam in order to play Helldivers 2. Late last night, the official PlayStation Twitter account tweeted, "Helldivers fans, we've heard your feedback on the Helldivers 2 account linking update. The May 6th update, which would have required Steam and PlayStation Network account linking for new players and for current players beginning May 30th, will not be moving forward. We're still learning what is best for PC players, and your feedback has been invaluable. Thanks again for your continued support of Helldivers 2, and we'll keep you updated on future plans." So there you have it. Gamers rose up and actually won this battle. I'm not entirely surprised, as I figured they'd make some kind of change to it, because clearly ruining Helldivers 2, given how much money it brings in, would have been a terrible business move. I think that the massive backlash and number of negative reviews probably convinced the suits that they were getting too close to accidentally making a massive mistake. Honestly, I didn't think that we'd get a total victory here though, but that's what we seem to be getting. Let's just hope they learned their lesson this time, and that they don't try to get people to do it sometime later in the future. What do you think? Do you forgive them? Will Will you go back to playing Helldivers 2, or have they lost your trust? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching all the way till the end. Remember to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day, and God bless you.